Alright guys, I'm gonna do a recap here on my Indices trade. I didn't record it since I was streaming, so we'll just do a quick recap here. If you can hear a leaf blower or a lawnmower, someone's getting their lawn mowed a couple doors down or something, but hopefully you guys can hear that. But let's get into it. So with this early week, I was likely bearish, right? Because here, you have this SMT here, right? And like, what do we notice here? All the assets expand away. You can see how they're creating gaps in the daily time frame. This is a good thing to see for all assets to hit the same low. So you see how ES didn't hit this low. It didn't really break this SMT yet. I think this SMT is just a retracement. We'll have to see though, but that was my bias coming today. And this is what we can anticipate to happen. You can already anticipate this SMT forming here because of the closures, right? You have a bullish close and a bearish close here, right? So this would be like a strength switch to catch up, right? So an SMT fill in continuation to catch up these lows. Actually really nice framework, to be honest, like very, very clean. So we'll just have to see with the daily close if this is just gonna be consolidation, because right now it's not really looking very clean, but that's what we had for today is the framework. So we can look at the high of day. It opens high first and creates the SMT. The high of day is created from a C2 candle. So we're gonna in key over here. Within this C2 candle, really within this range. I can let me replay it. All right. Right, so first let's go to the daily. Like, what is this, by the way? This is my favorite model. It's a continuation PSP, but it's also a gap, right? So this is a bullish candle. We're creating a C2 candle. Bearish candle, we're not creating a C2 candle, but it's also an SMT with a gap, as you see. So again, one of my favorite things to see, really. So yeah, I love that. Now let's get into this. So with this closure, it may be confusing, and it is confusing a little bit, because you have kind of have a 4-hour closure that's kind of, you know, contradicting the bearish bias and the bearish profile as this day opens high first. By the way, if you took this long here in the gap, I think it's clean to get to this high, to be the manipulation of the day. I think that's really clean, but anyways. This opens high first, right? I'm still viewing this to open high first. And then it's the reversal signature away from this high. Like, look at the V-shaped signature that we get at the high of day. Like, look at that V-shape, CSD. And then when I come into 930, like, I want to be bearish, right? So we already took this low, unfortunately. So we can't target that. The previous low is the only option, right? So at this point, when 930 rolls around, I want to see an SMT with one of these gaps, right? And ideally, not this one, to be honest. The one that we actually, not this one, to be honest. Like, but we did do it. More like this one, for real. That's what I would want to see, to be honest. Like, I want to see shallow retracements. That's, if we got a shallow retracement, we'd likely reach this low. But the fact that we reached so deeply and kind of the PA today was kind of mid. That's why I didn't really go anywhere today. It was kind of a short range trade, but 930 retraces back in the range, so we obviously don't care about this gap. We don't have SMT with it, but we have SMT with this gap. All right, as you can see with ES there. Okay, now you kind of have to view, if this is gonna, you know, be bearish, you kind of have to view this wick as retracements, because when I go to the 1 hour, you can see that this candle here, you kind of have to view as a retracement, but it's a little bit tricky because this hourly close is also not a C2 candle. The 30-minute is also not a C2 candle. So YM there is a C2 candle, but the PA is really bad. Like, you're gonna see. This is why it's super tricky this morning, honestly. So we had to wait a long time in the stream for me to really trade something. But you get this 2-stage SMT here. So here's your first stage SMT. Your second stage SMT is right here. Wait, where? 945. Yeah, right here. Right there. Right. Which on which YM would look like this, right? So if I show you here, that's what it would look like, something like that, right? So it looks like this here. So 10 a.m. you would want to just melt lower, like if you're gonna be bearish, but it didn't really do that. Like, it would just really trash. Like, look at this, it's really trash price action. So this kind of was throwing me off. Like, we did sweep this low out. Like, if I want to be bearish, ideally you don't want to see this like C2 candle like expansion back in the range. Like, you don't really want to see that, right? So it was kind of hard, right? A little difficult today, honestly. But what we did get is finally some displacement. So I did like this though. When I look at NQ and ES, they have way better PA. Like look at the reaction. Like no CSD over here. We're like CSDing up high in the range. NQ had this V-shaped signature, a gap here on the 5 minute. This is the universal sequence, right? V-shaped signature, SMT. I mean, this is what I've been showing you guys for like the longest time, literally. This is what we're seeing on the daily right now, right? We go to the daily time frame. What do we have? Cracking correlation here. Gap. We want to use these gaps in continuation. If we want to continue lower on the daily time frame, we want to use these gaps, and we want to use SMT with the gaps. Same thing intraday. SMT at the high of day, gap. We want to see SMT with the gap. Now go lower time frame. I want to see a gap. That's showing displacement. We even get this SMT fill in the gap. Look at ES. Trades into the gap there. Right? This is where we should start to displace away. Right? Pretty much here, right? That's what we get. We even like displace away with some momentum. Like this is looking really good. You're gonna see it just messes around for a really long time. And for whatever reason, it did that. So this is my trade pretty much. I think my fill was a little bit lower because 2R was like around here. It was a little bit past this low, to be honest. It was like, my fill was like, maybe I executed on the close there. But yeah, this is my trade pretty much. And you're going to see that it came very close. I don't know why it did that. No idea. It should be like that sometimes, You just got to hold your trade. So once we kind of like start to trade away from here, like basically once we got this closure here on the 1 minute, yeah, like once we got this close, I just moved my stop loss from here to now here, because I mean if it's going to take this out, we're going to be cooked either way. So you can save a little bit of R, even though it doesn't save much, what I'm saying. It doesn't save much. I think we moved it to the body as well at one point. I don't remember totally, but I think we did. I think when we really start to displace away, I think I moved to the body if I remember. But we ended up creating this little retracement. So again, once we close through right here, we can now move our stop loss again. Right? So as soon as we close right there, I move my stop loss here. So at this point, I'm like mitigating half my risk, a little bit more than half my risk at that point. So this is how you manage your trade. Because logically, we shouldn't be coming back up here, bro. Like, we should be expanding. We should be expanding, right? So in expansion signatures, this is what you're going to see. And at this point, I knew that we were going to close on the hourly time frame. So as you see, this candle here is potentially closing a CSD on the hourly. So on YM, it did that. And on ES, it did that. Now, there is no way to tell, in my opinion, that YM would, besides the higher time frame in the profile and stuff like that, that would be weaker to me, because like this PA looks really bad in my opinion. This PA looks really horrible prior to my entry. So look how this looks bad, right? Look how this looks a lot better, right? That's why I took this asset here, but YM ended up going a lot further, all the way to the previous low. And it's very spaced out. You see how spaced this, you're gonna see in a minute, but see how spaced these lows are? See how spaced out these lows are? That's why I TP at 2R. If it was going to get to the low on NQ, I feel like this early session PA would be a lot better. And we wouldn't have this deep retracement. So that's just some logic there, by the way. But anyways, I moved my stop loss to about half. I mitigate half my risk there. And then we create this gap. And if we're going to be bearish, basically here's the 11 a.m. open. I know that now we have like a candle 3, valid candle 3 closure, right? We're kind of trading this as a C3, right? This candle is supporting expansion when we enter the trade. And that's what GXT is really about, right? It's about trading a 4-hour expansion candle, right? See how it supports expansion away from the high of day. That's what it's truly about. We don't actually always care about the closures here, right? Because if this is going to be a retracement, it makes sense, right? If this candle here retraces and manipulates here, the next one should expand, right? That's kind of like the logic there. It was just kind of gross PA, internal to this, so we really had to wait, right? Yeah. Let's go to 1 minute again. So once you got this gap here, once you respected the gap, I can go break even now, right? because here, I mean, it could come back up and test like some 5-minute stuff up in here. But yeah, once we got this close, boom, I'm now break even on this trade. Theoretically, we should just rip down to the lows since we're this close to it. You see that YM also took the lows, so we're creating SMT at these lows now on a choppy day, so you never know, it could reverse on us. So that's why I went break even there. So this is when I closed my trade, just about, yeah, okay, yeah, we already hit it, yeah. Around 2R, so really that was a crazy snipe to TP at, really. That was kind of crazy. But if you look at the space between these lows, y'all see the space between these lows? That's what validates. This is why this is a good exit, right? It's just not likely to catch up in the same day. So that's my trade there on, you know, indices. And we want to see the close here. We want to close low on the range here. You know, we want to close like down here ideally. And then I might take a position entry in Asia session or something, if this is actually gonna be a nice close. But yeah, we'll see, guys. What else we got? So I'll go over my UJ trade real quick. Might as well, fuck it. This is pretty self-explanatory. So again, Monday is very obvious when Friday does something relevant. So it's just like today. I feel like Monday is pretty one-sided narrative because of what we're doing on a Monday. We're manipulating. So if we want to continue from the previous week's range, even though this is not a closure we're really continuing from necessarily, you can see over here, like it is, right? Because we have an SMT here, we have a PSP. So if we want to continue from the previous week's range, like, and we want to use a gap for a refined key level. So this is what we do. We mark a EQ of the previous, candle's range, doesn't matter what time frame. Then we look for aligned key levels. So for the daily alignment, for the weekly alignment, if you want a weekly candle, you want to look for refinement in that weekly candle. For a gap, we use it daily. So that would be this gap, right? So therefore, it's this gap on EQ, right? That's why this is one-sided for Monday, because we hit the key level on a Monday. And we're opening near it. So see, we're opening near the key level. Like, this is where I would want to see a Monday reversal or a Tuesday reversal, something like that, right? Early week, because we're opening near it. So therefore, we're going to hit it early in the week. Same thing for UJ, but we hit it Friday. So Friday manipulates. Obviously, we can expect Monday continuation. This is the most clear. This is super clear, guys. Like, it's crazy. So you just have a bullish range here. We hit this high. And did we manipulate this high? No, we did not manipulate this high. We did not manipulate anything to the left. So really, there's nothing to cause a reversal here, to be honest. So therefore, this range is likely to hold from high to low. And we reach EQ of the range. This is where you want to start seeing, it support price higher again. The closure supports it. We also hit something relevant internal to the range. So we have a daily order block here, but we can refine that level. And we can see that we have a relevant low right here, right? A relevant low internal to the higher time frame range, which we do manipulate, right? So just order pairing ranges, order pairing the range low, expanding and distributing to the range high. And we have fair swings at the range high, which are retracing signatures, right? Which is a continuation signature, which means that we should continue to create higher highs as there is no reversal here. So when we engage with this low, do we have a V-shaped signature? Absolutely. This is as clean as it gets, right? We want to see a shallow retracement. So mark at EQ this range. I don't want to see EQ get hit. I don't want to see that because that would just be us disrespecting EQ of this wick, right? So really it's this gap that ideally holds, around this level, really. And you see on the 30-minute, we engineer some lows in this level, right? So here's Asia, there's a 1800 low. We make a new low of day, have a nice close there. So once you get this closure, like, honestly, this is confirming the day, low-key. The continuous signature is even better. So anything up in here is valid to take as long as you can get 2R, right? As long as you can get 2R, you see my execution is a little bit late on this. It doesn't even matter. Like, it literally doesn't even matter. My execution is like somewhere like in this candle. And I just put my stop loss around this area. Just get 2R to this high. That's literally it. As long as your stop loss is on a relevant level and you can get 2R to the high, you don't need like a retest. You don't need the perfect entry, especially when trading on the hourly and 30-minute and stuff like that. You don't need the most perfect entry, right? So this is just a really clean, like super clean trade, to be honest. especially if you entered somewhere here, because when we create this reversal here, we get a 4-hour close, right? So this is what AM does. You're gonna notice you can see relevant swings just with the previous candle's closes. So just mark out the recent lows on the 4-hour time frame. Do you see the space between these candles? So this is viewed as like a relevant swing almost, right? So when you take that out and close through it, this is like almost like a protected swing. When you actually look in this candle, we can see that we did have some type of reversal here, right? So that kind of confirms the low of day, right? That's your GXT, right? Swing point firming the low of day. Now we're just trading the distribution candles. Super clean. Like whether you trade on it doesn't matter if you guys execute on the 1 hour like this, or 30-minute like this, or the 5-minute time frame. It doesn't actually matter. You can still take away from this just going with the framework, like just looking at the framework here. Like this is super clean. So I thought it was something to share, and something to learn from. It doesn't matter how you trade really, because we all trade like this. We all trade on the higher time frame like this and frame trades like this. So it doesn't matter. There's another trade that I took here. I think it played out decent so far. Yeah, so this is another trade I showed on stream. Sorry if you guys can hear that leaf blower, I'm sure you can, but you have a weekly close here on odd NZD. These are like two correlated markets, just like GBP, just like Euro GBP. So it's probably not the best thing to trade ever. But when you look here, we have a weekly candle closure. It was just too clean. Like, look at this. Super clean. Like Friday would have been an easy trade, bro. Like Friday's super easy. Look at all these fair swings, man. Look at all these fair swings. Like, this is super clean, man. Fair swings, failure swings. I mean, there's a gap right there, small, but really clean for Friday. And we're just trading a Monday continuation. So again, clear Monday continuation, right? So look what Monday is opening near. So opening near relevant high, right? So if this can be my invalidation, right? I'm marking out the EQ of the previous range, which is this, right? It's a bit weird when it closes like this. See how it closes kind of back within its range? See how this day is not closing near its own low? It doesn't really matter about if it hits EQ, because it's obviously gonna do it. We're opening near it. All that matters is a key level around the daily open, guys. That's what actually matters. Measuring EQ is like a mechanical way of viewing it, right? As far as like large wicks go, but this is clearly a relevant high internal to the pre-stage range, basically. So this is what we'd want to see manipulated. So it's the same thing as UJ, the first, part of Asia session, the first beginner stages of the day, trade into the highs. So that's where you want it to reverse from, especially Forex. Asia can be low day a lot. You're gonna see. So that's how I'm gonna trade Asia. I'm only gonna trade Asia really. It's gonna be like this, where we have previous closers and we're opening near invalidation levels. So, yeah. So if we go over here, what do we get? My entry is like right here. It's actually a pretty nice entry. So here we have a CSD here on the 30-minute. I can enter here, but I can move my stop loss here as a refined level, or like here. I don't have to put it all the way up here, because theoretically, like, what do we not want to see? Again, you don't want to see deep retracements. You have to view it like this. Really, if you go on lower time frame, we're already reversed, technically, right? It's just making lower highs, right? So technically, it's the most recent lower high, if you really think about it. It's the same logic, right? When I look at this 4-hour candle, we already reversed. We already put in the high here of the 4-hour candle, so really, that's where your stop loss can go, right? It's around that level, but I think I put it here, just right here. And what can we target? We can target the pre-6 low. There's also another weekly gap, even lower. So these are all levels that we can target, and it's playing out pretty nicely right now, as you can see. That doesn't take a lot, right? We're already up like 4R, so this is my other level here, potentially. We're around 10R. Executing on a 30-minute time frame. So it's all fractal. And yeah, hopefully you guys learned something from even the Forex trades. If you guys like them, I can definitely do some trades or trade recaps for you guys. Look at this, guys. This is so clean. Oh my god. So look, previous day's close, like, is this logic not universal? Like, it doesn't matter the market. Look, Thursday reversal, Friday continuation, right? So we want to look for a refined key level. What do we use for the daily? And daily refined key level, right? We use the 4 hour for a gap, right? So here we have it, right? Gap in the lower half of the range. Today is opening literally in it. So Asia high of the day, just like over here. The day is opening near it here. So Asia high of the day, likely, or ideally. So that's what we get here, right? So you can trade either in the gap and put your stop loss, like, I don't know, somewhere up here or something, or just wait for the intracandle CSD, like T-Trades teaches. That confirms the high day, and you get a nice sell-off there. That's fire. I wish I was watching that, but that's super clean. Bunch of equal lows. You know, like, these are things you want to journal. Like, this is what, guys, I'm telling you, the fastest way to profitability is waiting for stuff like this. Is it going to happen every day? No, absolutely not. But are you going to have a couple of, if you trade multiple markets, are you going to have a couple entries a week? Yes. You saw on Thursday, on NQ and gold, right? Super clean days on the daily, and we get multiple opportunities that type of day. I got like 5 trades that day, bro. Even though I lost like 2 of them. Yeah. Yep, I lost 2 of them. It doesn't matter because RR, right? Look at this RR potential, and this is like 10R. But you don't even need that high RR. But anyways, I'm done yapping. That's pretty much it, guys. I also took this one too. It just didn't work. It didn't work all the way. So you can look here. So this is a break even. I didn't partial. But again, it's demo. I'm just like practicing. But if you look here, we have this 2-stage SMT. It's a bit weird, but again, we're just kind of opening up near the previous high. So that's my draw on liquidity, right? It's simple as that, even though it didn't work out. Look on the weekly close. That previous high is a weekly fair value gap. We have a previous week's close as well. So you see how it's just one-sided, like super one-sided narrative. And there also is a 2-stage SMT down here on the daily time frame. If you look here, the day opens low first. This is starting to confirm my bias, right? So the first 4 hours of the day opens low. It's opening near some relevant things, right? 4 hour, it's in EQ of the pre-stage range. It's in that relevant area. So really, this is where you want it to reverse. When I drop to the hourly time frame, we've been engineered low. You manipulate it. Now it's a GXT, right? This swing point just confirmed the low of what do you call it? Just confirmed the low of the 4 hour candle. We also have PSP, right? So this is a bullish candle. The other one is bearish. So really, this is how you could trade the lower time frame. You could trade lower time frame here if you wanted to, right? But here I traded 30-minute, actually. So you're gonna see right here. We form a gap. Form a gap here. SMT in the gap, right? SMT in the gap. That's a really strong signature for continuation. And we get a 30-minute closure. You see that? You see how I'm using this like 30-minute fractal model basically, right? You have a closure here, continuation, or like the expansion model. Doesn't really matter, right? Either or. And that's what I'm trading here, looking for these smooth edges up here, but it doesn't get there. Now it does go 2R though. You can get a partial off, but I'm just demo trading. I'm not gonna partial on demo trade. So it was still a great trade. You can still be wrong and still make money. That's the thing, right? Like, you can still be wrong and make money. That's the great thing about it. And that's gonna happen when you're actually on side with the actual narrative. That's when that's gonna truly happen, because it's much more likely to actually at least give some sort of reaction, right? But yeah, we'll just have to reassess this here. But yeah, pretty much those are the trades that I took overnight, and my trades on EQ today. So hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully get a decent close like this. Like, hopefully we actually can close like this here. And I might even take some type of trade overnight. I'm not really sure. A little bit awkward PA right now, but yeah, I'll catch you guys later though.